Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Those who are new to my channel, a very warm welcome. Please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell icon for getting notified for more such videos. So with that, let's jump on to today's video. So today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about a very interesting feature or product or service that have come out in AWS, which is called AWS Transfer Family Web Apps. I am not sure how many of you have heard about it, but let's give you an example why it is important for folks who are in the EDI world as well, how relevant it is. And then I will give you a quick demo of how quickly you can actually build it. So let's say the use case that you have is, let's say you are supporting Sterling integrator or any other product, right, which are running in on-premise infrastructure. And if you remember, or if you know that to transact files through IBM Sterling integrator, your partner, right, also, like who is actually sending or receiving files, should also have capability to support like some kind of protocol, right, like SFTP or AS2, right? So that means that on the other side of the world, like which to which you are actually connected through Sterling integrator, would also need some kind of EDI software, at least some kind of basic MFT software, or at least some clients, right? Like for example, WinSAP or CyberDuck or FileZilla, those kind of things. How about, let's give an example where you get a use case or you get a requirement where the the partner doesn't have any capability, right? They don't have any software, but all they want is that they want to send files to you, right? And they want a UI that you expose to them. You give them credentials with multi-factor authentication enabled. All they do is just log into their web browser, use that web URL that you have provided with the credentials, and that they have set it up, right? And then they have also MFA configured, and securely they just upload the file or maybe download any files, okay? And the file is stored in S3 that you have access to on your AWS account, and you have like maybe some downstream applications that are ingesting those files. You are probably downloading those files. Your business users are downloading, right? So it's basically consider this as a S3 browser, right, for your end users using some kind of UI or portal, right? How cool is that? Like they don't need a big software, right? Now with that, and then the good thing about it is like they don't have to, like you don't have to set up a AWS transfer family endpoint. All you have to do is like you have to use the web apps feature within transfer family, which basically creates a web app related endpoint. So you don't pay for AWS transfer family, but there are certain charges specific to web apps, right? And I'll talk about that more in detail, but it's very lightweight. And the good thing is like they get a portal, they get a UI, right, which they can play around, and they can just use login credentials. They don't have to like issue SFTP commands or FTPS commands and all that, right? So with that, I'm gonna first show you like the end console, how it looks like, right, how the experience is, and then I'm gonna go back and I will show you how to actually like implement it, right, in your AWS account, right? So let me share my screen, and I will give you a link, a URL in the description for you guys to go and try it out, right? If you want to do step by step, very simple process. So let me share my screen. So this is the endpoint, right? It's just a URL, right? That you're gonna send it to your partner. They just want to send some files or download some files that you have stored, or you're going to retrieve from S3 buckets, right? So all they have to do is like they have to use that URL with any browsers that they have, and then it prompts them for a user the account that you have provision on your end, but then they get to set up the passwords and everything, right? They control everything, right? So let's say for my one, what I've done is, let me give a password, and then it's saying an MFA code. So I'm gonna give that MFA code from my Google Authenticator that I've set up. And if you see over here, when you log into this portal, it's just a portal, and it says you do not have access to application. Okay, let me see, something went wrong. over here. Let's see. Okay, let me do a quick thing over here. Let's go back to my S3, and then let's go to access grants, view details, and maybe I've registered both of them, so maybe I'm gonna deregister this one. Associated grants. All right. So maybe delete this. How about this? And then I'm gonna deregister this. This is the devil of the demo, right? Whenever you try to give a demo, it's some issues that you might face, right? But let's not worry about that. And all I'm gonna do is let's access grants. I think everything looks fine. Let's see. Let's try it out now. So maybe what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an incognito window, and let's try to open from here instead of the browser. There might be some cache related stuff. So let's see. Let's try this one. Okay. 79116. Sign in. Okay. Okay. Controls. Come on. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Very interesting. So I'm gonna do one thing. Let's just maybe let's delete this one, delete this grant, and then locations, deregister. Okay, let's go to S3 bucket. And let's see. My web apps and permissions. I have the cross origin portal. I'm gonna access to this. Yep. So if you see over here, I think that's what the issue was. All right, so I'm gonna sign out and I'm gonna log in back. So I'm gonna show you again. Sorry for that issue, but now it should work. So your end users or your partners, okay, will receive this URL with you, right? And then if you see right now, I actually removed the access part of it, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna re-register that. I'm gonna give them access. Let's do that. If you see, there's no folder over here because I just remove it just to see what is the issue, right? So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you this thing. I'm gonna log out, and then I'm gonna go to access grants, and then let's see over here. This is the got it. So let me go to the details, and then this is fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna register a location, and then I'm gonna give, let's say this one, choose a path, register, create a new role, register location, and then once this is done, let's create a grant, and then browse locations. Let's give this one read and write directory user. Oh, I have to give identity center. All right. So let's go there. People, web apps, general information. Copy this. Okay, create grant. Services and oh, S3 prefix. Okay, so give star. All right, create grant, and then let's go back here. Okay, so now let's go back to transfer family and web apps. So this is the endpoint. All right. So now if we log in, let's see, sign out and give a new incognito window, and then yep. So if you see over here, when they log in, right, and I'm gonna do it again for you just to show you what I was trying to do. So all there was some issue with maybe some settings when I was preparing for the demo, but that's fine. Now we are back on track. All right. So when they log in, based on what permissions that you give, right, they're gonna see this folder, right? It's like for example, my AWS Web Apps demo bucket, they can log into this folder, and based on like I have given read write access, so they can create their own folder. So let's say I create a new folder, test folder, or maybe inbound. So okay, now I'm gonna go inbound, and then I'm gonna upload maybe a file, right? Let's see, add files, and let's just add one file from here and just upload, right? If I do that, and they can just like log in out, right? But then if you go back to S3, right, which is your side of it, you can see if you go to this folder, they have actually created this inbound folder that I just showed, and then they have dropped this infra.yaml file right now, right? So you can just download this file or do whatever downstream processing that you need, right? So that's kind of the beauty of web apps, where you don't need to create a transfer family endpoint to be very specific. All you need to do is like, so I'm gonna say share the steps, and I'm gonna give a link in the video for you to just try it out. But there are four major steps, right? You need to create the web app. Inside the transfer family, the web apps, if you see there's a web app section over the left hand side, you need to create the web app. The second is set up a cross origin resource sharing or course on the S3 bucket as a policy. I'm going to show you that. And then create a access grant instance on the S3 bucket, like just the one that I showed, like register a location and an access grant, and then access the AWS transfer family web app, right? So how to do that? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it in a new AWS account, right? Rather than using the same one. So let me do one thing. I'm gonna close this one, and then I'm gonna open a new one, or maybe let's see. Okay, let's do it here. So here is what. Okay, all right. So the first step, create a web app, right? How to do that web app creation? Go to transfer family, and then go to web apps, click on create web app, and then you can select like how many web app units you need. Based on that, there's the pricing, and you can see the pricing page over here for more details. But if you are expecting like maybe two up to 250 concurrent sessions, I think one should be fine, but for demo purpose, I'm just selecting one, keeping it. And then you can like customize the UI as well, like with the partners logo and all that. So you can customize like that, might make it more personalized, right? Or maybe you can write like welcome to our web apps demo session. I can do that as well, for example. Okay, and then just create a web app. So it's going to create an endpoint for me, which is what I need, right? So this is, if you see, if we open this is the endpoint. That is something that we need to use to, like, the partner has to use to log in, right? Let's see. Okay. Okay, this one is the one, it is brand new, so I'm going to use this one. Okay, all right. Now the second thing is we need to create an S3 bucket where you're expecting the files for the trading partner. Now you can create specific trading partner related folders like we do it for mailboxes, right? Or you can create a parent folder and you can create subfolders within that specific to you. Here, so let's say my test partner. Okay, and then I create a bucket. All right. So my test partner, right? Now you'll go to that bucket, and then the second step I told is like we need to create a cross-origin resource sharing, right? So we need to ensure that the S3 bucket has access, right? The web apps is able to access the S3 bucket. So how to do that is in the document section, it is there, okay, like the document has shared in the link in the description box, but you need to set up the code. So all you need to do is like you need to copy that code that is out there. Like if you see, this is the one I was referring to as the URL. So there's a create bucket and then set up code size. So there is a copy command where copy this entire resource sharing code, and then all you do is you go to these permissions, scroll down, go to the cross origin resource sharing, click on edit, copy paste the whole thing. But then the thing that you need to do is like there's something called access endpoint. This is where you give the new web apps endpoint. So copy this web app endpoint and give it over here, right? That's all you have to do, and then just save changes. Once we're done with that, the second step is we need to create an access grant. So it's basically a container with all your permissions that you're giving to that S3 bucket for your trading partner. So on the left hand side, when I click this sandwich button, there's a option called access grants. So go to access grants, right? And then you can have only one access grant for each account, right? So I already have a access grant, okay, created, but you can just like, you will have an option of like creating an access grant. Like if you see it is dimmed for me, okay, but you can create one per account, right? So let's say I've already one over here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, and then here what you need to do is you need to first go to locations, right? And then you need to register the new location, right? So for me, let me go register the location, browse the S3, and then select the my test partner S3 bucket that I created. And then you can create a new role and then just register location. Once the location is registered within this access grant instance in your S3, the second thing is we need to create a grant, right? So yeah, so now create a grant and give browse locations. So you will have it over here. If you have registered, give star, and you can read like why I'm giving star and all that, and then give read write. Okay, if you want to give them both, or you can give read or write, you can be very specific around that. Then the second thing is the user accounts, okay, is for me, okay, it is an identity center, which is a single sign-on service, right? So I'm going to select the directory identity from IAM identity center. User, okay, here is what, like you can create a new user in IAM identity center, or you can uh, use the existing one for our demo purpose, right? So let's do that. So you can create a new user account. So how you do that is in IAM Identity Center, you can create a new user account. So let's say, for example, you can go to people, and then So you can create an ad person, right? So maybe we can do that as well. Let's do that. Okay, so test user. All right, generate a one-time password. Test test.com test.com. Let's say test. All right, and then I don't want to assign it to any group, so my username is test user, and I have the details right now. Let's see. I'm gonna take this, copy this password, and keep it in my notepad because I would need that, right? So let's do that. Copy. All right, so I've copied it, and then close it, and then I need one thing more from here, right? So if I go to test user, I need this user ID, ID specifically, not the user ID, right? If you see over here, I am identity set to user ID. So I am identity set to user ID is a one that you expand the general information, just copy that one, right? So I'm going to give that, right? And then create the grant. All right. So now that I've created grant for this my test partner location, next thing is you need to access the web apps. So how to do that? Copy this and maybe open a incognito window, right? And then just log in, try to log in, and then let's say I give test user, it was the username for me, and then the password is what I copy pasted, right? The one-time password, and probably it might ask to change the password in the first login. Also, it might ask to set up the MFA, right? So I knew that. So let's do that. Set it up. These are for security related, right? So I'm gonna scan this QR code, and then I have added it to the Google Authenticator. Now I have a authenticator code. So if you see, it's registered your authenticator app, done, and then as expected, it's gonna ask me for a new password, and now I know what my password is. So you don't get to share it, right? So you can keep it with yourself, and then when you log in, uh, for some reason it says start a new session. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's like I'm getting this error, but typically the expectations is when you log in, you're gonna get the same like folder called test partner, and then uh, you should be able to like log into this folder, and you should be able to then uh, upload or download the files, right? So maybe what I'm gonna do is, let's do one thing. I think let's maybe deregister this. Okay, let's first remove the delete it, and then maybe deregister this. All right, and now let's try the same thing. Maybe new incognito window. Oh, not that one. Let's copy this one, and then let's try it now. Okay, I'm gonna use a new incognito window. So some reason it is just you need to create a new one. Let's see. Let's try this one. Test user password, and then the MFA code. Here you go. It's something related to cache or something. Yeah, it's not giving, but yeah, the idea is you understand the idea, right? I've given you already the demo. So what's going to happen is you should be able to see the folder like test partner. You can create a new folder within that. You can create subfolders. You can upload files, and the files land in S3, right? So that's kind of the benefit of like not having any MFT software or anything, okay, all you need to do is a browser or a laptop, and you can start sending or receiving files from your partner, right? Okay, or your other business entity. So that's kind of the beauty of using web apps, right? So I hope this was useful to folks who are working in EDA project and getting this kind of use case. You can propose, you can talk about these options that is available, as long as like you have some kind of cloud presence, right? Not only like the on-prem stuff. So with that, I'm gonna conclude today's session. I hope this was useful. Please let me know if there's any questions around the web apps. I've given the link for you to try it out, and I'll see you in next video. Thank you.